Welcome back to the third and final part of tonight's show. If you are just joining us, we've already finished parts 1 and 2, where we tried and discussed 1792 full proof bourbon. That's 125 proof.
Yeah.
We're in part 3. We're probably an hour deep into the full proof. I can already see the look in Ken's eyes. He's getting ready to pour more. Buckle up, people. And we've already covered the first half of Sons of Anarchy Season 1, Episode 12, titled The Sleep of Babies. One quick reminder, once again, please like and subscribe. You could be fan number 12 if you like and subscribe tonight. Leave us your questions and comments in the comment section below, or you can email your questions to us at ask@bourbonbros, that's bros.tv. And as always, if your question doesn't suck, we may answer it on a future show. All right, Ken, let's get into the back half of this episode. Things really start to get good here.
Yeah, I could see this running really long here, so keep us on pace here. I'm going to pour a little bit more, just a little bit more, just because this is exceptional flavor. It's foolproof, and this episode demands foolproof.
It really does demand full proof. So you pour, I'll get us going on this next one. And it's really a continuation of what we're just talking about, right? Clay has met with Leroy. He set up a double cross on Alvarez. And again, you've got 2 locations, right? One for the money drop, one for the gun drop. And you've got Tig and Opie going to do the money drop, money pickup, or gun drop. Which one was it?
He's there.
Gun drop.
Gun drop, yeah.
So they're going to do the gun drop. And Tig goes into that scenario knowing that his real job is to kill Opie and make it look like it was from someone else. Mm-hmm. Right? Whether that was from the Mayans or the Niners. And when they walk in, it's a warehouse. And there are things in the warehouse, Ken. And Tig immediately kind of freezes up. And Opie is looking at him like, what's wrong? He is freaked out.
It's like some people have that fear of clowns too. It's like the same thing. Clowns, dolls.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. Yeah, earlier I said there wasn't a lot of comedy in this episode. That's another subtlety here because this
is
here.
A rare moment.
It's a rare moment. It's here.
And so Tig is worthless at this point. He's completely freaked out. He can't concentrate. He can't see anything other than dolls.
Yeah, he can't calculate. But his plan is foiled.
It's going down the tube in a hurry because when shit goes down and all of that action starts to happen, the dolls close in on Tig. And Tig is trying to literally hide, and like he's turned into a little kid.
Yeah.
Who just wants it to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, Tig's about to die. So you end up with a scenario where Tig is feeling very vulnerable because he's scared shitless of the dolls.
Wow.
He knows that as he surveys what's just happened, he knows that he would have been shot and killed, but he was saved by Opie. Mm-hmm. And so now, as Opie has turned his back to Tig and is focused on other threats in the warehouse, Tig's got a clear shot, but now it's somebody who just saved your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he can't do it.
He can't. In that moment, he can't do it.
This is what I love about Tig.
He's complex.
He's not one-dimensional.
No, he's complex.
It's really hard to take a sociopathic killer and make an audience root for and cheer and love that character.
And you totally do. How can he not? It's so entertaining.
And that's Kim Coates.
So well acted.
He does such a brilliant job at that. Because there are times where Tig is despicable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And yet you still love the guy.
Yeah. You look past it.
And that is just the brilliance of Kim Coates.
Yeah. Just so well done. I love watching him. Very entertaining. But after that all unfolds, He can't go through with the kill. The club gets together, right? And they realize that they potentially made a big mistake. Like, they could have lost their whole gun sale customer base.
Yeah, this is a meanwhile back at the Bat Cave.
Right.
Right. They've all reassembled at the clubhouse, licking their wounds, and having to now pivot.
They could end up broke with no guns.
Yep. And you ultimately end up with the moment where after everyone else leaves and it's just Tig and Clay, you still have the issue of Opie's alive.
Opie's alive, and Clay is now playing what
Star Chamber still needs to happen.
What can we do? What can we do? We got to shift gears.
Yes. And so take us through what Clay comes up with.
Well, as I recall, that because of what happened, they're left thinking that the Niners double-crossed them.
Yes. So it's a double cross of the double cross.
Yeah, which they did, which is entertaining in itself. But Clay figures that, hey, if we can figure out a way to make it look like a Niner came into Charming and took out Opie, that we may be able to do it here in Charming.
That's right. So he suggests...
He suggests a drive-by shooting. And his comment was, and I love it,
That'll be the night after the party. Make it ghetto, make it gangster.
All right. You know, if you fast forward to what happens, I think he does that. He achieves that.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And we'll talk about that. What I find interesting is Tig had an opportunity to say, hey, before we go full Star Chamber on Opie, like, this guy just saved my life. Are we sure he's the rat we think he is?
Right.
And Tig doesn't have that conversation, doesn't disclose that information.
Right.
Which is an interesting choice that he makes.
Yeah, he covered me. He's got that commitment.
That's right. And generally, if somebody's turning state's evidence, they're not murdering people with zero hesitation.
Yeah.
The way Opie did. So it would make sense that you'd kind of question, is this guy a rat?
Yeah.
And yet Tig ultimately decides not to share that information.
Yeah, he's caught in between the club and what his feelings are with Opie.
Yes. Yes. So let's get to the real crux and kind of crescendo of tonight's episode, which is really set up by Clay telling Tig, we're going to kill Opie at the end of the party.
Make it gangsta.
And Tig follows Opie and Donna and the kids out of the party. And he leaves ahead of them to go set up for what will ultimately be the hit. And then Opie calls an audible.
Yeah. He leaves on his bike, right? He leaves on his bike.
Tig
leaves on his bike. And Opie changes things.
Yes. So Donna, and again, I love, this is what makes the episode so hard. Donna has been digging her heels in and fighting. And it's in this episode where you finally see everything is good between them.
Yeah. I saw it midway through the episode. I saw it a little bit in the last episode where there's finally that support and acceptance from Donna.
So you're just like, yes, finally. Right? Because you want so much for Opie. And then Donna's even going further now. We're like, I want to come back and help Gemma clean him up.
Hey, you coming right home?
Yeah? Why?
I want to come back and help Gemma clean up.
Why don't you just stay? I can take the kids home, put them in bed.
You sure?
Yeah.
And so ultimately what happens is they trade cars. Donna gets into Opie's truck so that she can go buy dish soap and come back and help Gemma. And Opie gets in Donna's car to take the kids home and put them to bed.
Right.
But even that's not all. The plot thickens because on top of that, Hale has confided in Unser that Stahl set all of this up. Unser comes to the party and tells Clay.
It's about Opie.
What about him?
I know ATF's been hanging him out as a rat, but that ain't the case. He's not working for them.
And Unser has been around the block enough to know what happens in these situations. And that's why he's there and telling Clay. He's trying to prevent Opie from being killed.
He knows something's going to happen, and soon.
And soon.
And just the way when Gemma sees what he's struggling with and asks him, he can't, he's like lost in thought.
Yes.
He's like, oh shit.
It's a controlled panic.
Yeah.
And Tig is dead set on righting the wrong from the warehouse.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately what happens is, because of what happened in the warehouse and the fact that he froze up, normally Tig would be the kind of person that would look you in the eye before he killed you. And he can't do it with Opie. And that is ultimately why he doesn't know it's not Opie in the truck.
He just assumes that's Opie's truck.
And then after he's done, he pulls up to make sure that Opie is dead and discovers it's Donna.
It's Donna. He hightails it out.
It was, and this is again, I go back to the fact that Kim Coates creates a character like this that you actually care for. You feel bad for Tig.
That's strange, isn't it?
Isn't that weird? Like you know this is gonna just wreck Tig, that this has happened. That he's not going to take this lightly.
I mean, you feel bad.
You feel bad for him.
You feel bad for Opie too, but you really feel bad for Tig. You feel bad for him.
And I just find that incredibly interesting. That in a scenario like that, you don't hate him. You feel bad for him.
Great pickup. I great acting.
So take us through the aftermath, Ken.
Oh, I just felt the emotion, the way that they're back at the scene.
Which I think between this is a commercial break. Right?
There might
come
have,
back from commercial, and now it's quote unquote the aftermath.
Yeah. So Tig hightails out of there in the Range Rover, and they end up back there, and everyone's there. Like everyone's at the scene. Agent Stahl shows up. Buncer's there. Hale's there. Everyone's there. It just the pain. Just you see Donna there on the ground. They've got sheets wrapped around her. And you got Opie showing up there.
Donna? Donna? Donna! Whoa, sir. It's all right. Let him in.
You always fear, as a spouse, as a parent, like what the worst case scenario of something like this happening. That's what's unfolding here. And just my heart was pumping. It was just traumatic. Just what you would expect. Just the reaction on Opie's face. He acted that very well.
He absolutely did. And it's one of those scenes where I think you could rewatch it 10 times and pick new things up every time.
Yeah, it was just, I wonder how long that took to shoot, because it was just incredible. I mean, Clay's there, he sees a mistake. He feels the weight of what's occurred.
Because this is all his doing.
It's his doing, right.
And yes, Ryan Hurst, who plays Opie.
Just well done.
I felt like he lost his wife. Mm-hmm. It just was so real. It was so raw. It was so authentic. You feel the pain that Jax has, not just for the loss of Donna, but you feel the pain that he has for knowing what his friend is going through, someone that he cares deeply about. You get the look that Jax gives to Clay.
Oh, okay. We'll get to the look. When Jax looks at Clay, he knows, like he feels like there's no way you're not involved in this.
Yeah, he doesn't know what happened per se.
But this is you. This is all you, and the blood is on you.
I don't know what or how, but I know you're involved.
Yep. And also, there was a cut. I don't know if you caught this. There was a pan over to Hale, and he's standing there looking. And just the expressions on his face, he didn't say much at first, but immediately when I saw him, I put together, like, he's not surprised at all that this event has occurred. He didn't know exactly what, but he knew something was going down that night.
And then you got good old Agent Stahl.
She shows up on the scene, and is that her boss with her? Is that who was with her that Hale decked, laid out?
No, I think it was somebody that worked kind of subordinate
for
to
her.
Agent Stahl.
because they were pulling out of Charming, right? Because of what happened over in
and
Oakland.
I love when Hale decked him.
Yeah, it was great.
I told you this shit would go bad. This blood's on you.
Back off, Hale.
I love how Hale very clearly confronts Stahl and tells her that it's her fault.
Blood, yeah, the blood's on her.
Yep.
She
This is all on you.
and if you were, I don't know if you remember this, but no one's really around. But Stahl looks at Donna's dead body and actually
This is the moment. Yep.
apologizes to her.
Sorry.
And ultimately, you have Jax kind of wrapping Opie up and being there to kind of help move him away from that situation. And then you've got Tig, who has to come and act like he doesn't know what's going on. And I just cannot imagine for 1 second being in those shoes
Yeah,
and how hard that would be.
yeah,
So share with me your final thoughts on the episode.
yeah. I mean, I just thought it was extremely powerful. One of the best so far, at least top 3, maybe. I mean, not maybe top 1 or 2. It's hard to watch, but yet it was entertaining. So I can't explain that, but yeah, I thought it was very well done. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think if there's anybody that is maybe discovering this show for the first time and you're going through it with us, and this is as far as you've gotten, the thing that I think back to is when it's all said and done and you've gone all 7 seasons, this is one of the episodes you talk about.
It is. I got a few more in my head, but we'll just leave those for another day.
Yes.
But
Yeah, there's more for sure.
But this is
This is one
This is a
that you
standout.
talk about.
This is a standout.
This is a turning point, and it's a standout. So, which brings us to next week's show, where Ken, we're at the finale of
Really?
season 1.
Are we really?
We will be discussing episode 13, titled "The Revelator."
The Revelator. It has been a while since I've
And
seen
Ken,
this. The Revelator.
So if you think about running a show where you're going to go all the way through to the season finale, and then it's going to be 6 to 9 months before season 2 comes along, the number one thing you want to do is make sure that after that long break, they come back.
Yeah, sure.
So you need a strong finale, and that was where they invented things like the cliffhanger.
Okay.
Okay. We don't get a traditional cliffhanger here. Yet, the moment this episode ends, you immediately want to go to season 2, episode 1.
All right.
Immediately.
Okay.
And I'm glad we get to do that. Like after next week's show, we're going to go a week and we're going to be into season 2, episode 1. I am so glad that we're not actually going to have to wait 6 or 9 months for season 2 to come back. It would have driven me up the wall.
All right.
But next week's episode is strong.
The Revelator.
The Revelator.
This was strong, so I can't wait to see it again.
Oh, you just wait, my friend.
All right.
And that brings us to our second most important question of the night. And this is a big one. What are we going to drink for the finale?
I think both of us have a Long Branch in our inventory. So
You
why don't
want
we
to hit
crack?
the old Long Branch?
Why don't we crack that?
Now, have you had Long Branch?
I have not.
I have not either.
I'm sure it's back there somewhere, but
Do you know anything about Long Branch?
I think Matthew McConaughey is involved, correct?
Yes. So this is an interesting one. So in 2016, so Long Branch is made by Wild Turkey.
I spotted
Let's give you a little quick fun fact. There it is.
We'll be
All
cracking
right.
it.
So in 2016, Wild Turkey hired Matthew McConaughey, the actor, right? All right.
All right.
Take my shirt off. That Matthew McConaughey. And they hired him as their creative director, which was kind of a hot thing a few years ago, where people were hiring celebrities to kind of be their creative director and spokesperson. And so they hired Matthew McConaughey, and he said, I don't want to just be like the spokesperson or the face of a campaign. I want to be more involved. And so 2 years later, they launched Long Branch Bourbon. And again, it comes out of Wild Turkey, but this is one where supposedly Matthew McConaughey got involved with the team at Wild Turkey. He tasted different bourbons, and this is kind of the culmination of all of the different things that they tried, and this was his favorite. And so we're going to crack that open next week and enjoy that for the finale of season 1.
All right, let's do it.
All right, sounds good to me. And that's going to do it for tonight's show. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and we hope you had as much fun as we did. One final reminder, please, for those of you watching on YouTube, do remember to like and subscribe. Check out our channel for more shows. Leave a comment. Again, every week we're trying to do our best to bring a good and entertaining show for you. But keep in mind, we have no experience or discernible talent. We don't know what the hell we're doing.
Zero talent.
So your feedback is incredibly helpful. And for those listening to the podcast, even though we have no experience or discernible talent, we still want you to give us a 5-star rating. We want you to give us a glowing review. We want you to share this with your friends, your family, your mortal enemies. We don't care. Help us get the word out. And then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future shows. But most of all, I know I say it every week, but we really do mean it. Ken and I talk about this on a weekly basis. We really do thank all 4 to 10 of you for showing up and joining us for tonight's show. And we do hope you'll join us here each and every week on the Liquid Courage Show. Good night, everyone.